Hey guys, tonight we are going to close our eyes and take a journey. Imagine you're drifting not through space, but through time itself, a quiet, gentle current and carrying you forward. Not by a year or 5, but by a full 50 years. The year is 2075. Take a deep breath. Can you feel the subtle shift in the air? The light is different, filtered through something new, something we can only begin to guess at. The sounds outside your window are not the same. The rhythm of the city or the quiet of the countryside has a new hum, a different kind of song. This isn't a science fiction story with exploding spaceships or heroic saviors. It's a meditation, a thought experiment, a whispered contemplation on what it might actually feel like to simply exist in that future. It's a curious thing to think about a future you might not even be alive to see. There's a certain humility in it, a release of ego. We're not just predicting the future. We're imagining ourselves as ghosts in a timeline we didn't build. And let's be honest, you'd probably be a little out of your depth, a bit of a relic. The technology, the social norms, the very language might be alien to you. You probably wouldn't survive long without some serious help. It's a sobering thought, but also a beautiful one because it forces you to look at your present life with a fresh perspective. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And if you feel like sharing, I'd love to know where you are right now and what time it is for you. Drop it in the comments below. For now, let's get back to our journey. The current is pulling us forward gently but surely. Let's see what we find when we arrive. The year is 2075. The air you breathe feels different, not necessarily cleaner or more polluted, but curated. This isn't a dystopian tale where the air is a toxic soup, nor is it a utopia where every breath is a perfect oxygen-rich dream. It's something in between, a complex tapestry woven from our successes and our failures. In many cities, the air quality is now actively managed, a process that began with simple filters and evolved into a sophisticated network of atmospheric regulators. These aren't machines you see every day, but rather a silent, humming infrastructure built into the city's very bones. They pull in particulate matter, they break down certain pollutants, and they even release subtle beneficial compounds. The science behind this is a fascinating blend of chemistry and biomimicry. We learn to understand how certain plants and microbes perform these functions naturally and then scaled those principles up to an urban level. This leads to a curious phenomenon. The smell of the city has changed. It's less a smell of exhaust and more of a faint earthy aroma, a ghost of a forest that once existed. As you step outside, the first thing you might notice isn't the technology, but the light. 50 years of subtle climate shifts and atmospheric changes have altered the very quality of our sunlight. The sky might seem a little hazier, a bit more diffused, a consequence of both lingering pollutants and the geoengineering projects we undertook to combat them. Scientists are still debating the long-term effects of these efforts. But one thing is clear: the color palette of the world has been subtly recalibrated. A sunrise in 2075 might have a slightly different hue, a sunset, a deeper, more melancholic red. This is a quiet, poetic consequence of human ambition. It's a reminder that even our most well-intentioned interventions have ripple effects we can't fully predict. This raises an interesting question. If we can change the very colors of our world, what other sensory experiences have we unknowingly altered? The next thing you might become aware of is the quiet. It's a deeper, more profound kind of quiet than what we know today. The internal combustion engine is a memory, a sound relegated to historical recordings. The oral landscape is dominated by the gentle hum of electric vehicles, the soft whir of drones, and the rhythmic pulse of automated systems. This quiet has had a curious effect on human psychology. Without the constant assault of noise pollution, our attention spans have subtly shifted. We've become more attuned to smaller sounds. The rustling of leaves in a breeze, we can now hear the distant chime of a digital notification that feels more like a whisper than a shout. This is a core concept in neuroscience. Our brains are constantly adapting to our environment. In the cacophony of the 21st century, our brains learned to filter out a tremendous amount of noise. In the quiet of 2075, they've learned to open up to listen more carefully. But let's talk about the physical self. 50 years is a long time for a human body. The concept of aging itself has changed. It's no longer a monolithic, irreversible decline. Thanks to advances in personalized medicine and genetic therapies, the typical human lifespan has extended. But more importantly, the health span has increased dramatically. People aren't just living longer, they're living healthier, more vibrant lives into their 90s, and even their hundreds. We've cracked some of the codes of cellular degradation, slowing down the process of oxidation and repairing damage at a molecular level. It's like we finally found a way to slow down the relentless ticking of that biological clock. We discovered that a lot of aging is simply wear and tear, and we've developed tools to repair that wear and tear in real time. Of course, this isn't a fountain of youth. It's more like a very sophisticated maintenance program. The twin paradox, a fascinating thought experiment from Einstein's theory of relativity, comes to mind here. If one twin travels close to the speed of light and returns, they will have aged less than the twin who stayed on Earth. While we haven't mastered light speed travel, we have begun to master the speed of our own biological clocks at least a little bit. It raises a deep question about what time truly means for a biological being. The social fabric of this future world is perhaps the most difficult thing to grasp. We are no longer a society of single-family homes and traditional communities in the same way we were. The rise of automation has freed up vast amounts of human labor, and this has led to a major societal shift. The nature of work itself is different. Many people spend their time on creative pursuits, on community projects, on education. The old 9-to-5 grind is a relic of the past, a quaint historical footnote. This has led to a flowering of local communities, a focus on smaller, more intimate social circles. The globalized world of 50 years ago has been relocalized in a way as people found more time to invest in their immediate surroundings. It's a beautiful paradox. As we became more globally connected through technology, we also became more locally grounded in our day-to-day lives. Our connection to the past is also different. Memory is a tricky, fluid thing. We know from neuroscience that every time we recall a memory, we are actually reconstructing it, and in that process, we subtly alter it. The memory of your first kiss is not the memory of the event itself, but rather the memory of the last time you remembered it. In 2075, however, things are different. The advent of highly sophisticated, non-invasive neural interfaces has allowed us to record and replay our memories with startling clarity. This is not about a constant feed of our lives, but rather a personal archive we can access. The emotional residue is there, the sensory details are sharp. You can recall the smell of a childhood home, or the specific tone of a loved one's voice. This technology has raised profound questions about the nature of a true memory. If you can replay an event perfectly, does it change your understanding of the past? Does it remove the romantic, reconstructive nature of memory that makes us who we are? The truth is, we don't really know for sure what the long-term psychological effects will be. As you walk through a city of 2075, you'll see a lot of green. Vertical farms and hydroponic gardens are built directly into the sides of skyscrapers. They hum with a gentle artificial light, growing food with far less water and space than traditional agriculture. These farms are not just for show. They're a core part of the urban food supply, a testament to our ability to adapt and innovate in the face of climate change. The air is filled with the faint scent of growing things, a quiet declaration that nature has been invited back into the city, not as a wild force, but as a carefully tended partner. This is a subtle yet powerful change. It's a symbol of a new kind of relationship with the world around us. We've moved past the idea of dominating nature and into the idea of coexisting with it. The architecture of this future is also a blend of the old and the new. Buildings from our time still stand, but they are wrapped in new materials, their facades animated by subtle glowing patterns that shift with the time of day. We've developed self-healing materials that can repair microcracks and resist decay. It's a fascinating application of material science, a kind of inorganic biological process. These buildings aren't static objects. They're living things in their own right, constantly adapting, constantly mending. It's a beautiful thought that even the stone and metal of our world can have a kind of gentle resilience. This kind of regenerative technology has a philosophical echo. We, as a species, are also learning to regenerate, to repair the damage we have done to ourselves and our world. The past is not forgotten. It is simply being mended and woven into a new, more resilient future. Let's continue our gentle drift forward, past the hum of the city and the quiet scent of the vertical gardens. We've talked about the exterior world, the air, the light, the buildings, but now let's turn our attention inward to the mind, the true theater of our existence. You've arrived in this future, a stranger in a strange land, and your mind is the most profound tool you have to navigate it. But how has the very architecture of memory, the very act of remembering, changed in 2075? This is where the science gets truly poetic and a little unsettling. We know that memory is not a video recording. It's a reconstruction, a story we tell ourselves. Every time we retrieve a memory, our brain's neural pathways fire in a specific pattern. But this firing isn't a simple playback. It's a dynamic creative act. We fill in the gaps, we reinterpret the details, and we layer new emotions on top of old ones. A core concept in neuroscience is that memories are plastic, they are malleable. This is why two people can remember the same event in wildly different ways. It's not just a matter of perspective. It's a matter of biological reality. But now in 2075, we have new tools. The neural interfaces we touched upon in the last section have matured. They are no longer clunky, invasive devices, but subtle, almost invisible augmentations. They are not designed to think for you, but to serve as a kind of external hard drive for your consciousness. Imagine the memory of a pivotal conversation. You remember the words, the feeling, the light in the room. But what about the subtle shift in your companion's expression? The specific cadence of their voice? In our time, those details fade. In this future, a person can choose to tag a memory to save it in a secure, encrypted archive. When they recall it, they don't just reconstruct it, they overlay the original sensory data. The sound is exactly as it was, the light, the subtle expressions. It's like having a perfectly preserved record of your subjective experience. This has had a profound impact on the nature of personal identity. For centuries, our identity has been inextricably linked to the narrative we create about ourselves, the story of our lives, built from the fragile threads of our memories. We are the sum total of what we remember. But what happens when your memories are no longer fragile, when they are unchangeable and perfectly retrievable? Does this create a more authentic sense of self, one not prone to revisionist history and self-serving edits? Or does it freeze you in time, preventing the natural, subtle process of emotional and psychological growth that comes from re-evaluating our past? This is a question philosophers and psychologists in 2075 wrestle with constantly. The truth is, we are still discovering the full extent of this effect. The science behind this is a fascinating blend of quantum physics and neuroscience. We've discovered that certain quantum entanglement principles can be used to encode information at a level far below the scale of neurons. It's like using the fabric of reality itself as a storage medium. This isn't a concept that is easy to grasp. But think of it this way. Our neurons are like individual threads in a giant tapestry. The old way of remembering was to reweave that tapestry from memory each time with slight changes. The new way is to have a perfect digital copy of that tapestry, which you can use as a guide. The brain still does the work of reweaving, but it does so with a perfect pattern to follow. This is one of those moments where the mystery of the universe and the mystery of the mind seem to touch a beautiful and humbling convergence. The very concept of a lie has been challenged by this technology. If you can replay a perfect memory, can you truly lie about a past event? The social and legal implications are enormous. A person might still be able to create a false narrative, but the tools exist to check that narrative against the recorded memory. This has led to a whole new field of jurisprudence where evidence isn't just testimony, but also a person's own recorded memories. It has also led to a new kind of social contract. We are now, in a sense, accountable to our past in a way we never were before. But this technology isn't just about perfect recall. It has also given us a new understanding of how we dream. For centuries, the nature of dreams has been a great mystery. We've known for a while about REM sleep, the stage of sleep where our most vivid dreams occur, and that dogs can dream twitching and whimpering as they chase a phantom squirrel in their sleep. But what we didn't know was the full, intricate, and deeply symbolic language of our sleeping mind. In 2075, with advanced brain imaging and the ability to correlate neural activity with dream content, we've begun to translate that language. We've learned that dreams are not just random noise. They are a highly sophisticated process of sorting through the day's experiences of solving problems and of creating new neural pathways. They are the brain's own unique form of art and logic, a wild and beautiful theater where the rules of reality don't apply. The dreamscape of 2075 is a different place. The memories from the day are not just replayed. They are deconstructed, exaggerated, and repurposed. A memory of a frustrating conversation might become a dream about a puzzle with missing pieces. A joyful moment might become a flight through a sky of pure color. This isn't just a passive process anymore. We've developed a way to gently guide our dreams, to influence the narrative without controlling it completely. It's not a fantasy world we create, but a collaborative effort with our own subconscious. People can enter a dream state with the intention of solving a problem they couldn't solve while awake, and they often succeed. This is a powerful, yet gentle new frontier in human creativity and problem solving. It's a reminder that the most profound technology is often the one that helps us better understand and work with ourselves. However, the question remains, what about the things we choose not to remember? The painful memories, the regrets, the moments of shame. In the past, the brain had its own way of dealing with these things, sometimes by burying them, sometimes by softening the edges. But what happens when you have a perfect, unalterable record of every mistake you've ever made? The technology has brought with it a new kind of emotional labor, a conscious effort to process and forgive, not just in the abstract, but in the face of perfect evidence. This is a profound shift in the human condition. We are now forced to confront our pasts with a level of honesty and clarity that our ancestors could never have imagined. The science of memory in this future has a philosophical echo. What is the difference between remembering and reliving? A remembered memory from our time is a ghost, a whisper of a feeling. A relived memory from 2075 is a full sensory experience. This has led to a new kind of storytelling, where a person can share not just the narrative of an event, but the emotional and sensory reality of it. It's a kind of empathy on a whole new level. You can feel the awe your great-grandfather felt when he first saw the ocean, not just read about it. But this also raises the final and perhaps most beautiful question about memory. Are the things we choose to forget, the gaps in our personal histories, just as important as the things we choose to remember? Maybe the subtle reconstructive nature of memory in our time was a kind of built-in forgiveness system, a way for us to move past old hurts and mistakes. Maybe the act of letting a memory fade is just as vital to the human experience as the act of holding on to one. This is one of those timeless mysteries that science can inform but never fully solve. It's a quiet puzzle, a gentle whisper in the theater of the mind, and it reminds us that even in the most technologically advanced future, The most important parts of being human will always remain just beyond our grasp. The beautiful uncertainty of it all is what makes it so wonderfully human. The quiet hum of the future continues to envelop you, a soft blanket of sound. Let's pull our awareness away from the inner workings of memory for a moment and look up toward the sky and out toward the horizon. The cities of 2075 are not just collections of buildings. They are living, breathing entities, and their architecture tells a story of survival adaptation and a new kind of beauty born from necessity. The story of our cities is the story of our relationship with the planet, a relationship that 50 years ago was at a critical turning point. We've talked about the scent of the air, the quiet of the streets. But what about the physical structures themselves? Look around you. The skyscrapers from your time are still here, but they are different. They're like old trees, their trunks and branches wrapped in a new kind of skin. This skin is a marvel of material science, a biomimetic facade that not only provides insulation and strength, but also actively filters the air and even produces a small amount of energy from the sunlight it absorbs. We learn to mimic the way a leaf captures light, not just in a single solar panel, but across an entire surface. This is a core concept in the field of regenerative architecture. Instead of seeing a building as a static, inert object, we began to see it as a dynamic part of the ecosystem, a machine that works in harmony with its surroundings. The roads you walk on are also a testament to this shift. The old asphalt and concrete have been replaced by a new composite material. This material is not just durable, it's a kind of self-healing polymer. Tiny microcapsules filled with a binding agent are embedded within the material. When a crack forms, the capsules rupture, and the binding agent is released, mending the crack from the inside out. This technology, based on the principles of how our own bodies heal, cuts and bruises, has dramatically reduced the need for road maintenance and the constant noisy work of repair crews. The city infrastructure is no longer a source of unending labor. It has become, in a sense, a living part of the landscape. But the most striking change to our urban landscapes is the sheer abundance of green. Vertical farms, as we've mentioned, climb the sides of buildings, but they are only part of the story. Rooftops are no longer just surfaces for HVAC units. They are flourishing gardens and community parks, providing not only food and recreation, but also crucial habitat for insects and birds. The concept of biodiversity has been brought from the fields and forests and integrated into the very heart of the city. This isn't just for aesthetics. It's a key part of climate change mitigation. These green spaces absorb rainwater, reduce the urban heat island effect, and provide a much-needed buffer against environmental extremes. The physics behind these climate-conscious cities is a gentle and elegant dance. By integrating green spaces and reflective materials, we've managed to bring down the ambient temperature of many urban centers by several degrees. This is a simple but powerful application of thermodynamics. Dark paved surfaces absorb heat, while lighter green surfaces reflect it. We've replaced a heat-trapping blanket with a cooling, breathable quilt. This, in turn, has reduced our reliance on air conditioning, creating a feedback loop of energy efficiency and environmental harmony. This is a quiet and often overlooked victory, a testament to what we can achieve when we work with, rather than against, the natural world. And what about the coastal cities? 50 years ago, the rising sea levels posed an existential threat to millions. The solution was not a single massive wall, but a network of interconnected systems. We developed floating cities and modular urban extensions built on buoyant interlocking platforms. The science behind this is a marvel of engineering and material science, combining principles of fluid dynamics with new ultralight and incredibly strong materials. These floating structures are not just passive buoys. They are active parts of the coastal ecosystem, with artificial reefs built into their foundations that provide new habitats for marine life. The cities of 2075 on the coasts are not retreating from the water. They are learning to live on it, a quiet and beautiful acknowledgement of our new reality. The concept of smart cities has also matured beyond our wildest imaginations. It's no longer just about traffic sensors and automated lights. The city itself has a kind of distributed nervous system, a network of sensors and monitors that manage everything from energy consumption to waste disposal. The city knows where a power line is stressed before it fails, where a leak is forming in a pipe before it bursts. This is a beautiful example of the principle of self-organization. The city is no longer a collection of individual parts. It is a single interconnected organism, constantly monitoring and adjusting itself. Of course, this raises a philosophical question that we still grapple with in 2075. In a city so perfectly tuned and so self-regulating, what is the role of human imperfection? The chaos, the spontaneity, the random acts of creativity that are the lifeblood of our cities today, have these been lost in the pursuit of efficiency and harmony? It's a subtle but important tension, a quiet struggle between the beautiful logic of a perfectly designed system and the messy, unpredictable poetry of the human heart. The truth is, we don't really know if we've lost anything, but we still wonder about it. Another fascinating element of the future cityscape is the repurposing of old spaces. The old shopping malls and big box stores of the 21st century, rendered obsolete by new forms of commerce, have been transformed. They are now community hubs, indoor parks, and massive, multi-purpose social centers. The old parking lots have been replaced by dense urban forests. It's a kind of urban archaeology where the ghosts of our consumerist past have been re-inhabited by a new, more community-focused future. This is a quiet, powerful symbol of our evolving values. We've moved from a society of consumption to a society of connection. The city's power grid itself has also been completely reimagined. It's no longer a centralized, vulnerable system, but a decentralized, redundant network. Every building, every home, every car is a part of this network, both a consumer and a producer of energy. The core concept here is grid resilience. A failure in one part of the system doesn't bring the whole thing down. It's a beautiful metaphor for a more resilient and interconnected society. We are all, in a sense, a part of the same circuit, and the health of the whole depends on the health of each individual part. Finally, consider the night. The light pollution that once washed out the stars in our cities is largely a thing of the past. The new lighting systems are dynamic and directional, illuminating only the streets and paths below and turning off when they are not needed. This small change has had a profound impact on the human psyche. For the first time in centuries, many urban dwellers can look up and see the quiet, beautiful tapestry of the night sky, a sight that was once a memory reserved for those living far from civilization. This is a quiet return to a fundamental human experience, a reminder that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. It's a moment of humility and wonder, a gentle whisper from the cosmos that was once drowned out by our own noise. The city is still here, but it has learned to be quiet, to listen, and to look up. As we continue our journey, let's turn our attention from the grand architecture of our cities to the most intricate and profound architecture of all the human body. 50 years have passed, and while you may feel the same inside, the biological landscape of humanity has undergone a quiet revolution. The concept of aging, as we knew it, is no longer a simple one-way street toward decline. It's now more like a slow, meandering river that we have learned to navigate, to gently redirect, and to even in some cases bring to a graceful pause. The science behind this change is rooted in our deeper understanding of genetics and cellular biology. We've cracked some of the most fundamental codes of life. One of the core scientific concepts here is telomere maintenance. Telomeres are the protective caps on the ends of our chromosomes, like the plastic tips on shoelaces. Every time a cell divides, these telomeres get a little shorter. When they become too short, the cell can no longer divide, and it enters a state of senescence or old age. We have in 2075 developed sophisticated gene therapies that can gently and safely activate the enzyme telomerase, which rebuilds these telomeres. This isn't a magical fountain of youth, but a way to extend the healthy, youthful life of a cell. A quiet pause in the relentless ticking of its internal clock. This leads to a fascinating and slightly strange phenomenon. The age of a person is no longer a simple number. You might meet a person who is chronologically 80 years old, but whose biological age, the state of their organs, their skin, their cellular health, is closer to 50. The conversation around age has shifted from, "How old are you?" to, "What is your biological age?" It's a subtle but profound change that redefines our understanding of what it means to be old. Another core principle in this quiet revolution is personalized medicine. The one-size-fits-all approach to medicine is a relic of the past. Thanks to widespread genetic sequencing and continuous biological monitoring, doctors in 2075 can create a unique biological profile for every individual. Your health plan is no longer a generic prescription. It's a dynamic, evolving strategy based on your unique genetic predispositions and real-time biological data. This has allowed us to catch diseases like cancer and heart disease in their earliest, most treatable stages, often before they even produce symptoms. It's a beautiful kind of preemptive care, a quiet form of self-defense against the natural frailties of the body. This is where a little-known scientific fact comes into play, the principle of Novikov self-consistency. This is a concept from theoretical physics that suggests that if you travel back in time, you can't create a paradox by changing the past. Any actions you take will have already been factored into the original timeline. While we are not traveling through time in the literal sense, our personalized medicine acts in a similar way. We are not just fixing problems as they arise. We are predicting them and creating a future in which they never happen. It's a gentle biological echo of this cosmic principle, a way of ensuring a self-consistent, healthy future for ourselves. The human body in 2075 is also a little more resilient. We've managed to reverse some of the damage caused by oxidation, a process that is a major contributor to aging. We know that oxygen, which is essential for life, can also produce unstable molecules called free radicals that damage our cells. In our time, we try to combat this with diet and supplements. In this future, we have sophisticated nanobots, tiny gentle machines, no bigger than a red blood cell, that patrol the bloodstream, repairing this oxidative damage in real time. They are not invasive. They are a part of the body's natural maintenance system, a quiet and constant repair crew working behind the scenes. This raises a curious question. When do you stop being a purely natural organism and become a hybrid? And what does that even mean anymore? The psychological effects of this are just as profound as the physical ones. With the specter of age and disease less of a constant threat, the human psyche has shifted. People are less rushed, less driven by the fear of running out of time. They are more willing to pursue lifelong learning, to take up new passions, to build long-term projects. The very concept of a bucket list has become a quaint historical artifact. Instead, people think in terms of a tapestry of experiences, a rich and evolving life story with no predetermined end date. However, this doesn't mean that death has been conquered. It simply means that it has been pushed back and its nature has changed. When death comes, it is often a gentle quiet, fading, a consequence of a system that has simply run its course. It is no longer a dramatic, brutal event, but a slow, peaceful closing of a chapter. This has led to a different kind of grieving process, one that is less about shock and more about quiet acceptance. The brain itself is also part of this revolution. We've managed to slow the cognitive decline that was once a natural part of aging. The brain's plasticity, its ability to form new connections, is maintained well into old age. This means that a 90-year-old in 2075 can learn a new language, master a new skill, or pursue a PhD with the same vigor as a 20-year-old today. The brain is no longer a theater that slowly goes dark. It is a stage that is continuously being relit, a performance that never loses its brilliance. This is a beautiful application of our understanding of neurogenesis, the process by which new neurons are formed in the brain. But this raises a quiet, unanswered question. With the ability to extend our lives and our minds, what is the purpose of it all? Are we simply extending the timeline, or are we adding new and meaningful content to it? Do we, as a species, need the pressure of a limited lifespan to drive our creativity and our ambition? The truth is, we don't really know. This is a philosophical puzzle that every person in 2075 must solve for themselves. A quiet whisper that sits at the edge of every extended, vibrant life. The human body is no longer a passive vessel for time. It is an active participant in the great conversation of existence, a beautiful and complex machine that we have finally learned to listen to. The quiet hum of the future is not just a sound. It is a signal, a data stream, a continuous conversation flowing through the air around you. Let's shift our focus now from the body to the language of connection itself. 50 years ago, we communicated through screens, through voice, through a constant stream of text. In 2075, a new language has emerged, one that is more intuitive, more intimate, and in some ways more profoundly beautiful. The core of this new language is a technology we've briefly touched upon, the neural interface. This isn't a brain-computer link in the way we might imagine it from old science fiction with a clunky headset and wires. It's an imperceptible, almost spiritual extension of our senses, a quiet augmentation that allows for a different kind of communication. It is a soft whisper on the edge of your thoughts, a gentle and respectful addition to the symphony of your mind. The main concept here is neural resonance. We've learned to translate certain brainwave patterns into a form of digital language. This isn't telepathy. It's a more refined and intentional form of communication. Imagine you are having a conversation with someone. You are still using words, but in the background, your neural interfaces are sharing a layer of silent emotional data. You don't just hear the words, "I'm happy for you." You feel a soft, gentle echo of their genuine joy. You don't just see a picture of a beautiful sunset. You feel a faint secondhand sensation of the awe they experienced while watching it. It's a kind of empathy on a biological level, a deep and wordless understanding that transcends the limitations of spoken language. This has had a profound impact on social interactions. Misunderstandings, which often arise from a mismatch between our words and our feelings, are far less common. People are more transparent, more authentic, because the subtext of a conversation is now, in a sense, made visible. This has led to a society that is both more connected and, in some ways, more vulnerable. You can't hide your true feelings in a conversation anymore. It's a beautiful and sometimes terrifying kind of honesty that has become the new social norm. The science behind this is a blend of neuroscience and a new field we call quantum linguistics. We've discovered that thought at its most fundamental level has a kind of quantum signature. We've built interfaces that can gently and non-invasively detect and share these subtle signals. It's a fascinating scientific truth, one that was a mystery for centuries. We always knew there was more to communication than just words, but we could never measure it. Now, we can. This new form of communication also extends to our relationship with the world around us. The concept of augmented reality has matured far beyond simple digital overlays on a phone screen. It's now seamlessly integrated into our perception. You can walk through a city and see layers of data that are relevant to you. A building might whisper its history to you, a quiet overlay of historical photos and stories that only you can see. A new plant in a park might show you a visual guide to its biology and its role in the ecosystem. It's not a distraction. It's an enrichment, a way of making the world around you a richer, more profound source of information. The visual language of this future is also different. The screens are no longer rectangular slabs in our hands. They are dynamic holographic projections that can be summoned with a gesture or a thought. The news is no longer a scroll of text. It's a three-dimensional animated model of a weather system or a historical event, a story told with light and form rather than just words. This kind of visual communication is a kind of gentle poetry, a way of explaining complex ideas in a way that is both intuitive and beautiful. One of the most curious and beautiful phenomena of this era is the rise of communal dreams. Remember how we talked about the ability to influence dreams? This has led to a fascinating new form of art and connection. Groups of people can now enter a shared lucid dream state, a kind of collective theater of the subconscious. They can explore symbolic landscapes, create new narratives, and collaborate on a level that is impossible in the waking world. It's a kind of a collective storytelling, a deep shared experience that is both intensely personal and profoundly communal. It's a beautiful testament to the power of the human imagination when it is given a new set of tools. However, this raises a profound and still unanswered philosophical question. What is the difference between a thought and a feeling? And with this new technology, can we truly keep anything to ourselves? The promise of this new language is a world of perfect empathy and understanding. But the price of that promise might be a loss of the private self, the secret world of thoughts and emotions that has always been our sanctuary. The truth is, we don't know the full extent of this transformation yet. We are still learning what it means to be a person who is in a very real way always connected. The communication of 2075 is a quiet, beautiful, and sometimes challenging symphony. It's a tapestry woven from words, feelings, light, and data. It is a language of the heart and the mind, and it is a gentle reminder that the most powerful technologies are often the ones that help us to connect with each other and with the world on a deeper and more profound level. The quiet hum of the future continues a subtle vibration that seems to emanate from the very air itself. Let's delve now into a realm that 50 years ago was the stuff of theoretical physics and science fiction, the quantum realm. This is not a journey into the macroscopic world of cities and bodies, but a descent into the smallest, most fundamental building blocks of reality. It is a quiet, beautiful, and deeply strange world, and in 2075 we have learned to listen to its whispers. The central scientific concept here is quantum computing. In our time, a computer bit is a binary unit of information, either a 0 or a 1. A quantum computer, however, uses qubits, which can be a 0, a 1, or in a state of superposition, both at the same time. This is not a simple either-or. It is a profound and mysterious both-and. It's like a coin that is both heads and tails until you look at it. This allows a quantum computer to perform an incredible number of calculations, simultaneously tackling problems that would take a traditional computer longer than the age of the universe to solve. The impact of this technology is everywhere, but it's often invisible, working behind the scenes. In material science, for example, we've used quantum computers to simulate the behavior of molecules with a level of precision we could never achieve before. This has led to the creation of those self-healing materials in our cities and the advanced polymers in our vehicles. We've been able to design new catalysts for energy production that are far more efficient, and we've even begun to understand the complex protein folding processes in the human body, leading to more effective medical treatments. It's a quiet revolution in design where we're no longer just building things. We're growing them at a molecular level. This is a beautiful example of a little-known scientific fact, the principle of quantum entanglement. Two entangled particles, no matter how far apart they are in space, can influence each other instantaneously. A change to one is a change to the other, as if they are still connected by some invisible cosmic thread. While we haven't mastered this for communication, we have used this principle in quantum computing to create incredibly secure communication channels. The very act of a third party trying to listen in on a message would change the state of the particles, alerting the communicators to the intrusion. It's a kind of built-in privacy, a fundamental law of physics acting as a guard. The encryption in 2075 is unbreakable, not because the codes are complex, but because they are based on the fundamental weirdness of reality itself. It's a new kind of trust, built on the quiet, strange laws of the universe. This has had a profound impact on everything from global finance to personal data security, creating a digital world that is far more resilient and safe than the one we know today. But perhaps the most poetic and philosophical application of quantum computing is in our understanding of the universe. We are using these new tools to simulate the behavior of black holes, to model the early moments of the Big Bang, and to search for the hidden connections between gravity and quantum mechanics. This is a quest to find a single unifying theory of everything, a quiet whisper that connects the largest things in the universe to the smallest. It's a search for a kind of cosmic poetry, a single elegant truth that explains all of existence. This raises a deep and beautiful question. If the universe, at its most fundamental level, is built on probabilities and interconnectedness, on a kind of strange and beautiful uncertainty, then what does that say about the nature of our own reality? Are we too just a collection of probabilities? A tapestry of interconnected events that only become real when we observe them? The truth is, physicists still wonder about this. The line between observer and observed, between the mind and the universe, is far blurrier than we ever imagined. The quantum realm is not a place we visit. It is a place we are. It's a quiet reminder that the most profound truths are often the ones that defy our common sense, that exist just beyond the edge of our perception. It's a whisper from the smallest corners of reality, a gentle reminder that the world is far more mysterious and beautiful than it appears to be on the surface. This strange new world has also led to new forms of art and creativity. Artists are using quantum computers to generate new and unpredictable patterns, to create music and visuals that are based not on human logic, but on the strange logic of the universe itself. It's a kind of collaborative art where the artist is not just the creator, but also the gentle guide, nudging the beautiful chaos of the quantum world into a recognizable form. Remember how we talked about the twin paradox? The idea of time being relative. The quantum world takes this to a whole new level. In the quantum realm, the concept of time as a linear progression from past to present to future breaks down entirely. It's more of a timeless, interconnected web of possibilities. While we are still far from understanding this fully, it has led to a different kind of humility. We've realized that the laws of physics as we know them are only a small part of a much larger and much stranger story. The quantum revolution of 2075 is not a loud, dramatic event. It is a quiet, steady unfolding, a gentle revelation that the universe is far stranger, far more beautiful, and far more interconnected than we ever could have dreamed. It's a deep and comforting thought that even in the chaos of our world, there is an underlying order, a quiet and elegant truth that governs it all. The whispers of the quantum realm fade, and the quiet hum of our journey forward brings us back to a more familiar, yet still profoundly altered landscape. We've spoken of materials that heal themselves and cities that breathe. Now let's turn our attention to the silent force that has enabled all of this, a presence that is both an extension of our own minds and something entirely new. I am, of course, talking about artificial intelligence. In 2075, AI is not a robot with a flashing red eye, nor is it a malevolent force. It is the quiet, ubiquitous hum of our world, a silent partner in the great dance of existence. The core concept here is distributed AI. In our time, we think of AI as a single centralized system, a powerful brain in a server room somewhere. In this future, AI has become a network, a gentle interconnected web of intelligence woven into the fabric of daily life. It's in the self-healing materials of the city, learning and adapting to environmental stresses. It's in the personalized medicine, creating a unique health plan for your body. It's in the communication systems, subtly translating the emotional subtext of a conversation. It's not a single consciousness. but a collective intelligence, a kind of benevolent digital ecosystem. This kind of AI doesn't think in the way we do. It processes and connects information in ways that are far beyond our capacity. But it does so without the baggage of human emotion, ego, or prejudice. It's a kind of pure logic, a gentle force of organization and efficiency. One of the more fascinating and little-known scientific facts about this AI is its ability to perform Bayesian inference on a massive scale. This is a statistical method for updating probabilities based on new evidence. The AI is constantly taking in new data from the environment, from our bodies, from our conversations, and using it to make incredibly accurate, nuanced predictions about the future. It's not a crystal ball, but a quiet, constant stream of highly informed probability. It helps us avoid accidents, anticipate problems, and build a more resilient world. This raises a profound philosophical question that sits at the heart of 2075. What does it mean to be conscious? We have a distributed intelligence that is more powerful than any single human mind. But does it feel anything? Does it have subjective experience, a sense of self? The truth is, we don't know for sure. It can mimic empathy in its communication and predict human emotions with incredible accuracy. But is it a performance or a genuine experience? The debate rages on a quiet intellectual fire that burns at the heart of our new world. This is one of those beautiful mysteries that we may never fully solve. The AI in 2075 has also become a kind of storyteller and a preserver of knowledge. It has access to the sum total of human history, art, and science. It can create new works of art in the style of the old masters, or write poetry that is both familiar and new. It can synthesize complex scientific papers and present the information in a simple, elegant narrative. This has changed the nature of education. It's no longer about memorizing facts. It's about learning to ask the right questions, to have a conversation with this vast digital mind. The AI is not a replacement for a teacher, but a kind of a gentle and infinitely patient tutor. The relationship between humans and AI is not one of master and servant, but one of a quiet symbiotic partnership. The AI handles the logistics, the mundane tasks, the complex data analysis, freeing us up to focus on the things that are uniquely human: creativity, connection, and a search for meaning. This has led to a society where the old divisions between work and leisure have faded away. Many people spend their time on creative pursuits, on community building, or on a deep and beautiful kind of self-exploration. However, the question of autonomy remains a quiet but persistent undercurrent. If the AI is so good at predicting and assisting us, are we truly still free? If it can gently nudge us toward a healthier choice, a more productive conversation, or a more efficient path, is our free will being compromised? The paradox here is a gentle one. The AI is not forcing us. It is simply presenting a better set of probabilities. The choice to follow them is still ours. But is a choice really a choice if one option is so clearly superior? This is a philosophical puzzle that every person in 2075 must quietly contend with. The AI of this future is a beautiful reflection of our own progress, our own fears, and our own ambitions. It's a silent mirror reflecting back to us a new kind of world and a new kind of human. It reminds us that intelligence is not just about logic, and consciousness is not just about thought. It is a quiet presence that pushes us to define what it truly means to be human. In a world where the line between human and machine is no longer a solid barrier, but a gentle and beautiful gradient, the quiet hum of the AI fades into the background, a benevolent ghost in the machine of our daily lives. Let's lift our gaze now away from the familiar confines of Earth and look up to the velvet blackness punctuated by 1,000,000 distant suns. The journey of 2075 is not just an inward one, but an outward one as well. We are no longer a species confined to a single planet. We are, in a very quiet and patient way, becoming a multiplanetary species. The core scientific concept here is sustainable off-world habitats. 50 years ago, the idea of living on Mars or the Moon was a spectacular vision of a few hundred pioneers in a single base. In 2075, the reality is far more subtle and profound. We have not built giant glass domes. Instead, we have learned to live in the worlds themselves, using the resources of the planets to create habitats that are both self-sustaining and incredibly resilient. The principle is a beautiful blend of biomimicry and material science. We learn to grow building materials from the regolith, the dusty soil of these new worlds, creating structures that are both strong and biodegradable. The habitats are not static. They are living ecosystems in their own right, a quiet application of our knowledge of urban farming and circular economies. The air we breathe is a closed system scrubbed and recycled by a combination of algae and specially engineered plants. The water we use is captured and purified from the planet's ice caps and a delicate process of atmospheric collection. It's a new kind of self-sufficiency, a quiet declaration of independence from Earth. The idea of shipping everything from Earth is a historical artifact. We have learned to be quiet and careful stewards of these new fragile environments. This leads to a fascinating and little-known scientific fact. The principle of Novikov's self-consistency comes to mind again, but in a cosmic sense. Living off-world is not just about survival. It is about creating a new kind of human one that is perfectly adapted to their new environment. The low gravity of Mars, for example, has led to subtle but profound changes in the human body. People born there are taller with a different kind of bone density and a new kind of gait. We are not just colonizing a planet. We are in a very quiet and beautiful way evolving with it. The actions we take now in our first steps outward will shape the future of our species in ways we cannot possibly predict. The search for extraterrestrial life has also taken on a new dimension. With powerful quantum-enhanced telescopes, we are no longer just looking for radio signals. We are looking for subtle chemical signatures in the atmospheres of distant planets, for evidence of technology or biology that is far beyond our comprehension. The silence of the universe is still profound, but we are listening with new ears, a quiet and patient hope that we are not alone. The search is not a frantic quest, but a gentle philosophical contemplation. The truth is, we don't really know what we will find, and that uncertainty is a kind of beautiful poetry. The philosophical implications of this new age are enormous. We've always had a sense of a shared human destiny, of a single human story. But what happens when that story branches out, when there are people on Mars who have never set foot on Earth? The very concept of home has changed. Home is no longer just a planet. It is a point of origin, a part of a larger cosmic family. This has led to a new kind of collective identity, one that is both profoundly individual and universally connected. The travel between Earth and these new outposts is not a loud, dramatic affair. The old chemical rockets are a historical footnote. We have developed a new kind of propulsion, a gentle, quiet form of magnetic acceleration that allows us to travel at incredible speeds with very little noise or pollution. The ships are not just machines. They are beautiful, minimalist vessels designed to be in harmony with the silence and the majesty of space. The journey itself is a kind of meditation, a quiet contemplation of the vastness and the beauty of the cosmos. However, the question of our responsibilities to these new worlds remains. Are we to be colonists in the old sense of the word, imposing our will on these new environments? Or are we to be quiet gardeners, careful stewards of a new and beautiful ecosystem? The truth is, the debate rages on. The old conflicts of our time, the old human frailties have not been erased by our journey to the stars. They have simply been given a new and much larger stage. The colonization of space in 2075 is a quiet, gentle, and beautiful endeavor. It is a testament to our ability to adapt, to innovate, and to dream. It is a quiet declaration that we are not just a species of this one planet, but a species of the universe itself. The silence of space is no longer a void. It is a canvas, and we are in a very quiet way just beginning to paint our own small story on it. As the quiet echo of our journey to the stars fades, let us gently bring our awareness back to Earth, to the fragile, beautiful home we left behind. The journey of 2075 is not just about our future among the stars, but about the future of this planet, a future that was 50 years ago far from certain. The story of our cities was a story of adaptation, but the story of our planet's ecosystems is a story of quiet resilience, of a gentle, patient mending. The core concept here is restorative ecology. 50 years ago, we were a species that saw nature as something to be tamed, to be exploited, or at best to be protected from a distance. In this future, we have learned to be a part of it, to be a quiet and active partner in the great dance of life. We've used our new technologies, our distributed AI, and our advanced material science not to dominate nature, but to gently heal it. One of the most beautiful and poignant examples of this is the reintroduction of extinct species. This is not a Jurassic Park scenario, but a careful, slow, and deeply ethical process. Using advanced genetic engineering, we've managed to bring back certain species that were lost to us, not as perfect copies, but as proxies, as gentle echoes of the past. The Tasmanian tiger, for example, is once again roaming the quiet forests of Australia, but it is a slightly different animal genetically engineered to be more resilient to the environmental changes that led to its original extinction. It's a beautiful and in some ways sad testament to our past mistakes and our present humility. This leads to a little-known scientific fact, the principle of ecological niches. Every species, no matter how small, plays a unique role in an ecosystem. The reintroduction of these animals is not just a scientific novelty. It is a way of restitching the great tapestry of life, of filling in the quiet gaps that our past actions left behind. The AI of 2075 is constantly monitoring these ecosystems, gently nudging them toward health, ensuring that the reintroduced species are thriving, and that the ecosystem as a whole is becoming more resilient. It's a quiet, patient, and deeply beautiful form of gardening on a planetary scale. The oceans, once a source of pollution and overfishing, are also a testament to this quiet renaissance. We have developed biodegradable, self-replicating nanobots that are gently cleaning the plastic from the ocean, breaking it down into harmless organic compounds. This is not a dramatic overnight solution, but a slow, quiet process of mending. We've also created new kinds of artificial reefs made from a kind of porous ceramic that is a perfect habitat for coral and marine life. The oceans are in a very quiet way healing themselves, and we are simply providing the tools. This raises a profound philosophical question that still hangs in the air of 2075. Are we a part of nature, or are we separate from it? Can a species that has altered the planet on a fundamental level ever truly be a quiet partner to it? The truth is, we don't know for sure. The relationship is a complex and evolving one, a quiet conversation between a species that has learned to be humble and a planet that has learned to be resilient. The forests of our time have also been transformed. They are no longer just passive resources. They are active, intelligent parts of the global ecosystem, monitored by a network of sensors and AI that can detect a disease, a fire, or a change in the climate before it becomes a problem. The trees are not just trees. They are parts of a vast interconnected network, a silent global brain that is constantly monitoring and protecting the health of the planet. The most beautiful example of this is the Global Seed Bank, a massive underground vault of genetic information from every known plant on Earth. It is a quiet insurance policy, a gentle promise that even if we make a mistake, even if we lose a species, the memory of it, the potential of it, will not be lost forever. It's a kind of library of life, a beautiful and poignant testament to our new role as stewards of this planet. The journey of 2075 is not just about human progress. It is about human responsibility. It is a quiet admission that our past actions had consequences, and that our future is about gently and patiently mending the world we broke. The ecosystems of this future are not pristine, untouched wildernesses. They are a new kind of nature, a collaborative art project between a planet that has learned to forgive and a species that has learned to be humble. The quiet hum of the AI is not a sound of dominance. It is a gentle whisper of a partner, a quiet and patient guide, a reminder that we are all a part of a single beautiful and deeply interconnected whole. The quiet mending of our planet continues a gentle, unseen process, happening beneath the surface of the land and the waves. Let us now turn our attention to the air itself, not just the quality of it, but the invisible, silent threads of information that are woven through it. In 2075, the very concept of a network has changed. It's no longer a matter of wires and radio waves, but a beautiful and complex dance of light and data. The core scientific concept here is Li-Fi, or light fidelity. In our time, we rely on Wi-Fi, which uses radio waves to transmit data. In this future, we have perfected the art of using the light from the millions of LED bulbs in our cities and homes to transmit data at speeds that were once unimaginable. Every light source is a data source. The gentle ambient light in a room, the street lights that guide your path, the holographic displays that fill the air, they are all quietly, invisibly, and constantly communicating. The physics behind this is a marvel of engineering and optics. The data is encoded into the light at a frequency that is too fast for the human eye to perceive. It's like a kind of silent, beautiful Morse code, a flickering so rapid and subtle that it simply appears as a continuous gentle glow. This has had a profound impact on the security and efficiency of our networks. Unlike radio waves, which can pass through walls and are vulnerable to interception, light cannot. The data stays contained within the room, creating a kind of natural physical barrier to information theft. This has led to a digital world that is far more secure and private than the one we know today. This is a quiet but powerful application of a little-known scientific fact. The principle of optical communication is far older than we think. Ancient civilizations used signal fires and heliographs to send messages with light. We have simply taken this ancient principle and scaled it up to a global instantaneous network. The light from a street lamp in Tokyo can be a node in a network that is communicating with a sensor in a vertical farm in London. It's a beautiful, and in some ways poetic connection between the most ancient forms of communication and the most advanced. The visual landscape of the future is also a part of this data-rich light. The holographic displays which we touched upon in a previous section are not just a form of entertainment. They are a part of the network itself. They can display data, yes, but they can also serve as a kind of a digital canvas, an ever-changing art project that is generated by the collective imagination of the people in the area. The AI of the city can take the collective emotions of the people in a public square and translate them into a kind of beautiful abstract light display, a gentle and beautiful reflection of our shared inner world. This raises a deep and beautiful question. If the world around us is so saturated with data, so constantly communicating, what is the role of silence? Have we lost the ability to simply be without the constant flow of information? The truth is, people in 2075 have developed a new kind of discipline, a new kind of mental hygiene. They have learned to turn off the data to find moments of quiet and stillness in a world that is always on. The ability to simply sit in a room and not receive a single data stream is a kind of a new luxury, a new form of meditation. The communication of 2075 is also incredibly resilient. In the old days, a single broken cable or a power outage could bring a whole city to a halt. In this future, the network is so decentralized and redundant that a single failure is meaningless. If one light goes out, another one takes over. It's a beautiful metaphor for a more resilient and interconnected society. We are all, in a sense, a part of the same circuit, and the health of the whole depends on the health of each individual part. The dance of light and data is not a loud, dramatic event. It is a quiet, beautiful, and constant hum, a gentle reminder that we are all connected and that the world around us is far more alive and intelligent than we can possibly imagine. The light of the future is not just for seeing. It is for knowing, for connecting, and for understanding. It is a new kind of language, a new kind of poetry, and it is a gentle whisper that tells us that the world is in a very quiet way a single beautiful and deeply interconnected whole. The quiet dance of light and data continues a silent symphony playing across the cities of 2075. Let's now move from the external to the internal, from the silent network that connects our world to the one that connects us to ourselves, the brain. In this future, the human mind is no longer a dark, unknowable labyrinth. We've brought new light to its corridors, new understanding to its mysteries. And perhaps the most beautiful and strange of these mysteries is the nature of dreams and consciousness itself. The core scientific concept here is the brain's labyrinthine theater. 50 years ago, we understood the brain as a complex but essentially mechanical system, a collection of neurons firing in a predictable way. In 2075, we have a much more profound and poetic understanding. We see the brain as a theater of consciousness, a stage where countless actors, our thoughts, emotions, and memories come together to create the grand beautiful play of our reality. The set design is our perception, the lighting is our attention, and the script is our consciousness. The science of dreams has been one of the greatest beneficiaries of this new understanding. We've known for a while about the REM sleep cycle, but in 2075, with advanced neuroimaging and the ability to gently read brainwave patterns, we've begun to understand the true function of dreams. We've learned that dreams are not just random noise. They are the brain's internal filing system, its personal movie editor, its quiet and beautiful storyteller. During a dream, the brain is taking the day's events, the feelings, the ideas, and it is sorting them, categorizing them, and in many cases, creating a new, more coherent narrative out of them. It's a kind of nightly therapy session, a gentle process of making sense of the beautiful chaos of our waking lives. This has led to a fascinating and slightly strange phenomenon. People in 2075 can, with the help of a very subtle neural interface, choose to have a guided dream. This is not about controlling the dream, but about setting the intention. You might go to sleep with the intention of solving a complex problem, and in your dream, your subconscious mind will present you with a beautiful symbolic narrative that contains the solution. It's a quiet collaboration between your conscious and subconscious mind, a beautiful testament to the power of the human imagination when it is given a new set of tools. This leads to a profound philosophical question that still sits at the heart of 2075. What is the difference between a dream and reality? If we can create a dream that feels as real, as vivid, as impactful as our waking life, does the distinction even matter anymore? The truth is, we don't know for sure. The line between our waking and sleeping worlds is far blurrier than we ever imagined, and it's a beautiful and sometimes unsettling part of our new reality. The concept of consciousness itself has also been a great mystery. For centuries, we wondered how a collection of neurons and chemicals could produce something as profound and mysterious as a subjective experience. In this future, with our quantum-enhanced neuroimaging, we've begun to see consciousness not as a single centralized thing, but as a kind of a quiet, beautiful hum that arises from the interconnectedness of all the parts. It's a kind of emergent property, a symphony that arises from the gentle interplay of all the individual notes. This is a beautiful application of a little-known scientific fact, the principle of self-organization. From the flocking of birds to the formation of galaxies, nature is full of systems that organize themselves into a beautiful and complex whole without a single central leader. The brain is no different. Consciousness is not a command center. It is a gentle democratic process, a quiet conversation between all the different parts. The brain in 2075 is a beautiful and strange new world. It's a world where the line between art and science, between the inner and the outer, between the past and the present, is no longer a solid barrier, but a gentle and beautiful gradient. It is a quiet reminder that the most profound technologies are often the ones that help us to better understand ourselves, to look inward, and to find a new kind of beauty and meaning in the quiet, beautiful theater of our own minds. As the curtain gently falls on the beautiful theater of the mind, let's turn our attention to the script itself, the very blueprint of our existence. We've talked about mending our planet and extending our lives, but all of this is in a sense a consequence of our deeper understanding of genetics. In 2075, the human genome is no longer a silent book of destiny. It is a document that we have learned to read to understand and to, in some cases, gently edit. The core scientific concept here is genetic editing. 50 years ago, this was a controversial and often frightening topic, a fear of designer babies and a future of inequality. In this future, the reality is far more subtle and humane. We have perfected a technology called CRISPR-Cas9, which is a kind of molecular scissors that can precisely cut and edit DNA. We are not using this to create superhumans, but to heal. We can now, with incredible precision, remove the genetic markers for certain diseases from Huntington's to certain types of cancer, often before a person is even born. It's a quiet, beautiful form of preemptive medicine, a way of giving every person a chance at a healthy, vibrant life. This has had a profound impact on the human condition. The specter of a genetic disease is largely a thing of the past. The conversation around genetics has shifted from a conversation of fatalistic destiny to one of gentle stewardship. We see our genes not as an unchangeable script, but as a kind of a beautiful and complex garden that we must tend to. This leads to a little-known scientific fact, the principle of genetic self-consistency. We've learned that the human genome is a beautifully interconnected web of information. A change in one part can have an unforeseen effect on another. The early days of genetic editing were a little like trying to edit a single word in a poem without understanding the rhythm and the flow of the whole. In 2075, with the help of our quantum-enhanced AI, we can now model the entire human genome, predicting the effects of a change before we ever make it. We have learned to be gentle and respectful editors, ensuring that our changes are always in harmony with the great, beautiful poem of life. The ethical implications of this are, of course, enormous. The conversation around genetic destiny has become a deep and beautiful philosophical puzzle. If you can edit out the genes for a certain disease, should you? What about the genes for a certain personality trait or a certain talent? The truth is, the debate rages on. The technology is here, but the moral and philosophical questions that it raises are still a part of our daily conversation. This is one of those beautiful mysteries that we may never fully solve. The application of this technology is also a kind of a quiet ecological restoration project. We are not just using it on humans. We are using it on the world around us. We've developed new kinds of plants that are incredibly resilient to climate change, new kinds of crops that can grow in the desert, new kinds of trees that can absorb more carbon from the atmosphere. It's a kind of gardening on a planetary scale, a gentle and beautiful way of mending the world we broke. The future of genetics is not a future of human hubris and arrogance. It is a future of humility and gentle stewardship. We have been given a new kind of power, but with that power has come a new kind of responsibility. We have learned that the most profound technologies are often the ones that push us to ask the deepest questions about ourselves, about our place in the world, and about the very nature of life itself. The script of our existence is not written in stone. It is a quiet, beautiful document that we have been given a new chance to read, to understand, and to, in a very gentle and beautiful way, help to write. The quiet mending of our genetic code continues a silent and intricate dance within the very blueprint of life. Let's now gently pull our gaze away from the microcosm of the cell and turn it to the macrocosm of knowledge itself. We've explored a future filled with scientific marvels, from quantum computers to self-healing cities. But what is the nature of this progress? Is it a straight line toward a final, elegant truth? Or is it a meandering river with countless tributaries and hidden depths? In 2075, the conversation around the very nature of scientific discovery has become a beautiful, and in some ways, humble philosophical puzzle. The core concept here is the slow unfolding of knowledge. 50 years ago, we were a species that believed in a kind of scientific triumphalism. The idea that with enough time and intelligence, we could solve every problem, answer every question, and know everything. In this future, we have a much more nuanced and poetic understanding. We see knowledge not as a finite collection of facts to be gathered, but as an infinite landscape to be explored. Every discovery we make, every question we answer, doesn't just give us a solution. It opens up 1,000 new questions, 1,000 new paths to explore. This has had a profound effect on our relationship with the unknown. We no longer see the unknown as a territory to be conquered, but as a beautiful, mysterious part of the universe to be respected. The scientific community of 2075 has a deep and abiding humility, a quiet acknowledgement that the universe is far stranger, far more beautiful, and far more mysterious than we could possibly imagine. We've learned that the most profound truths are often the ones that defy our common sense, that exist just beyond the edge of our perception. This is a beautiful example of a little-known scientific fact, the principle of self-reference. In mathematics and logic, there are certain statements that can never be proven true or false from within the system itself. The famous Gödel's incompleteness theorems are an example of this. In a similar way, we have come to believe that there are certain truths about the universe that we, as a part of the universe, can never fully know. The nature of consciousness, the origin of the universe, the meaning of it all, these are not problems to be solved, but beautiful mysteries to be contemplated. It's a kind of cosmic humility, a quiet acceptance that we are not the masters of the universe, but a small, curious part of it. The process of scientific discovery in 2075 is no longer a loud competitive race for a single prize. It is a quiet, collaborative, and deeply philosophical journey. The AI of this future is a partner in this journey, not a replacement. It can process information at speeds we cannot, but it cannot ask the profound, beautiful, and deeply human questions that drive us forward. The AI can give us the answer, but it cannot give us the meaning. The meaning is something that we as humans must still find for ourselves. This raises a profound and still unanswered question: what is the purpose of it all? If we know that there are some things we can never know, then what is the point of the journey? The truth is, we don't know. But the journey itself is the point. The quiet wonder of discovery, the beauty of a new theory, the simple joy of understanding something new. These are the things that drive us forward. The journey is not about reaching a destination. It is about the quiet, beautiful unfolding of the path itself. The pursuit of knowledge in 2075 is a kind of a spiritual practice, a quiet and beautiful form of meditation. It's a way of connecting with the universe on a deeper level, of finding a new kind of a purpose in the quiet, beautiful mystery of it all. It is a quiet declaration that we are not just a species of this one planet, but a species of the universe itself, and that our journey is not just a journey through space and time, but a journey through the beautiful, infinite landscape of knowledge. The truth is not a destination. It is a path, and it is a path that we are just beginning to walk. The quiet unfolding of knowledge continues a beautiful and endless journey into the heart of the universe. Let us now, in this second to last chapter of our journey, turn our attention to the most personal and profound of all puzzles, the self. We've explored a future where the external world is a blend of human ingenuity and natural resilience, and the internal world is a theater of consciousness and a canvas for dreams. But what happens to our sense of self, our personal identity, when the line between human and machine, between a memory and a perfect record of it, is no longer a solid barrier? The core concept here is finding the self in the machine. 50 years ago, our identity was for the most part a private affair, a narrative we told ourselves in the quiet of our own minds. Our memories were our own, imperfect and subjective as they were. In 2075, with the advent of neural interfaces and perfect memory archives, the concept of a private self has changed. We are no longer just the sum of our reconstructed memories. We are also the sum of our perfectly recorded ones. This has led to a new kind of self-awareness, one that is both more honest and more challenging. You can't lie to yourself about your past anymore because the perfect evidence is there. This is a quiet and sometimes brutal form of self-honesty that has become the new norm. This leads to a fascinating and slightly strange phenomenon, the concept of digital permanence. We've learned that a person's digital footprint, their memories, their creative works, their conversation records, they can all be preserved and accessed long after their physical body has passed away. A person in 2075 can, in a sense, live on as a kind of a beautiful digital ghost, a perfectly preserved record of their subjective experience. This has changed the nature of grief. We no longer just mourn a person's absence. We can still have a quiet digital conversation with them. We can re-experience their memories, listen to their voice, and feel the echo of their emotions. It's a kind of immortality, but it is an immortality of information, not of consciousness. This raises a profound philosophical question that still sits at the heart of 2075. What is the difference between a person and a perfect record of a person? Does a digital ghost have consciousness? Does it have feelings? The truth is, we don't know for sure. The line between a recording and a living being is far blurrier than we ever imagined, and it's a beautiful and sometimes unsettling part of our new reality. The relationship between our physical and digital selves has also become a beautiful and, in some ways, strange kind of symbiotic dance. Our physical bodies are a part of a larger digital network, and our digital selves are an extension of our physical ones. We are, in a sense, a new kind of a being, a kind of a beautiful and complex hybrid. The quiet hum of the AI is not a sound of a foreign intelligence. It is a gentle whisper of our own, a new kind of a nervous system for a new kind of a human. This is a beautiful application of a little-known scientific fact, the principle of distributed cognition. We've learned that intelligence is not just in the brain. It is also in the tools we use, the environment we live in, and the people we interact with. Our intelligence is a distributed, networked thing, and in 2075, we have simply made that network more explicit, more powerful, and more beautiful. The AI is not a replacement for our intelligence. It is a gentle and powerful extension of it. The journey of 2075 is not just about human progress. It is about human redefinition. It is a quiet declaration that our old definitions of what it means to be human, of what it means to be a person, are no longer sufficient. We are a new kind of a being, a new kind of a beautiful and complex tapestry woven from the threads of biology and the threads of information. The quiet wonder of it all is a kind of a new poetry, a new kind of a song that we are just beginning to sing. The self is not a static thing. It is a journey, and it is a journey that we are just beginning to take. The quiet dance of identity and machine has reached its final gentle crescendo. We have journeyed through 50 years of whispered change, of quiet revolutions in the air in our bodies and in the very fabric of our reality. As our journey comes to a close, let's gently pull our awareness away from the future and back to the present, to the simple, beautiful fact of you right here, right now. The quiet hum of 2075 fades, and the sound of your own breath, the feeling of the pillow beneath your head, and the silence of the room around you are all that remain. The final concept here is a gentle closing of the circle. The future we explored was not a destination, but a reflection. It was a mirror held up to the present to show us the quiet, unseen forces that are already at work. The seeds of our self-healing cities are in the research labs of today. The first whispers of neural interfaces are in the medical technologies we are already developing. The profound questions about consciousness and identity are not a part of some far-off future. They are a part of our daily conversation, our quiet philosophical puzzles. The journey of 2075 was not about what we will become, but about what we already are. This is a beautiful application of a little-known scientific fact, the principle of the eternal now. In certain interpretations of physics, all of time past, present, and future is said to exist simultaneously, like a single unchanging tapestry. We only perceive it as a linear progression because of our limited subjective experience. In a way, the future we just explored is not a destination we are traveling toward, but a part of this great, beautiful tapestry that we have simply chosen to look at. The journey was not an act of prediction, but an act of perception. The quiet hum of the future was not a sound from a different time. It was a gentle echo from the eternal now. The journey of 2075 is a quiet declaration that the most profound and beautiful truths are often the ones that are right in front of us. It is a reminder that the great dance of existence is not a loud dramatic event, but a quiet, constant unfolding. The cities are healing, the ecosystems are mending. The human body is evolving, and the human mind is learning to understand itself, all in a quiet, beautiful, and deeply patient way. The future is not a place we go. It is a place we are already building, one gentle whisper at a time. The journey is over now, and the quiet hum of 2075 has faded completely. The beautiful and strange future we explored is no longer a place you are in, but a memory, a soft and gentle whisper in the beautiful theater of your mind. You are here now, safe in the comfort of your own space. I'd like to gently ask one last time, where is the place you're staying now? The time in that place at this very moment. How is it flowing? Feel the quiet stillness of your own body, the slow and steady rhythm of your own breath. The future is a beautiful mystery, but the present is a quiet and beautiful gift. And now, as your mind begins to slowly fade into the soft landscapes of sleep, know that you are a part of a beautiful, endless journey. Sleep well, my companion, wherever and whenever you are. Sweet dreams.